busy with so many things, and I have a job that really it's very needy, and so my emails and my you know and my phone is just ringing constantly. So whenever I have a chance to like stop, like my mind's still going through like 100 things from work that I haven't. So it's been really hard for me to really concentrate, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of do the cleansing into my body, and I did combo and all this, and I met Alex, and he
I didn't
told me
show up.
about he told me about himself. He told me about he was gonna go to the retreat, and it sounded really interesting. So I was like, help. And so I was like, I want this. Like I really want to be able to stop my head for 5 minutes. I deserve it. Like I need it. Not deserve it. I need it. So I'm here hoping that I can achieve that at some point. I mean, it's not gonna be like a magic pill that I take and it's like, oh yeah, well, cool. But
It's definitely not a magic pill, but in a lot of ways, I think you might find that it can be.
I hope so.
I think that you'll find that you can achieve that and more. Quite honestly, that's my goal, anyways, for you.
Thank you. I appreciate your goal for me to be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said this has nothing to do with
Go for it.
Yeah. Y'all just mentioned the magic pill. If anybody's into documentaries on Netflix, have y'all seen it, The Magic Pill? If not, you should. I really like it.
What's it about?
Well, yeah, that's what you're doing next question.
Well, I guess-
Tell us more.
Well, I didn't want to talk this much, guys.
Oh, come on.
It was just basically about a balanced diet, and I really found it interesting. And I think it's like a
I've seen it, but
ketogenic diet, or something similar to it. Follows it.
Yeah.
I really liked it, and it made me want to be a better person after. So
that's always good.
yeah.
Whenever something makes you feel like you want to be a better person, that's always a nice thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And,
So what brought Mario and Allison here?
all right. He's like,
That's kind of
Right here.
I come.
Yes.
I'd never get more of the group meditation. I'd done yoga and meditation on my own over the years, and I'd got to certain levels with it. And then I met Alex and tried this out, and I was just like clear, like yes, as a group, I can kind of go to new spaces that I can't on my own, and then even just being able to do it with other people adds another layer to it, which is nice. And so I share with anyone who I care about pretty much, or anyone who I think might be ready to just kind of open that door, because until you open that door, you don't even know it's there.
right.
And so you gotta just kind of take the step in at some point. So I was like, y'all, come on.
Timing.
Hello.
Timing is everything. So yeah, we met. I guess it's like a year now.
But she was asking me like, how long have you known him? I was like, a year? Something like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's exactly a year.
right?
To
It
the
was
day
definitely
and the
August,
hour.
and it was right before school started, because I know that her kids were going to school, and it was like the day before.
That's right. I had to go to school the next day. She kept saying that.
That's why she was doing it at like noon.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
You still doing the farms?
No, I work at U of H now,
Okay,
and totally different.
gotcha.
I went from there to working on an oil rig, and now I'm
Oh,
at U of
really?
H. And I'm about to take another job at U of H. I think I was telling you about the boss from hell,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm waiting on a new offer for another department. So
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. Why are
Why am
you
I here? Mainly, we work together. We work at the same broker, real estate broker. So, kind of here for support. But I also want to kind of just reset and restart myself. I fell off big time this year. I recently I went to a Tony Robbins conference last month. So I recently started integrating meditation back, just very slowly. But I definitely want to be in a group. I just feel like I need that support right now.
And you've been coming here. It's been almost
2017, probably.
2017. Yeah, at least.
At least 2017.
And then you were with me in the early days.
OG.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee. That was
I have no idea. I don't remember.
4 or 5 years ago, probably. It's been a while. So I guess I'll get a little bit into me and why I'm here, why I do this, and it's important for me to let all of you know that I'm just a guide or teacher. I'm not anything different than you guys. I just happen to have studied it for a while, and it's important to know that I'm on this journey too, that I'm working on myself, and that I'm a work in progress, and we're all kind of works in progress. Hopefully, we all lift each other up instead of being friends or a group that kind of pull down. A lot of times in life, most people want you to repeat the same routine. They want you for themselves. They want you to go drinking. They want you to go out. And it's the same thing over and over and over again. And a lot of times that will stagnate your growth because you're influenced by them. Whether you want to believe in peer pressure or not, doesn't really matter. You're affected by your influential circle. So for me personally, it started because I was meditating by myself as well for a number of years, and you get to a point that you want to discuss it with people, that you want to involve other people because it's made an impact on your life, because it's been a positive influence on you personally, and because, especially with this type of meditation, you tend to have experiences. You tend to have very real experiences. You tend to have crazy things happen, and you want to share that with somebody, and it's the only way to share that is either they have an interest in it that pulls them to find the books or find the videos or audio or whatever it is, and that they themselves are pulling themselves along, or they need a helping hand. They need someone to say, hey, check this out, or hey, try this out. Even if it's just a little nudge in that direction, sometimes that's all they need, because they may have already had an inkling into it already, or maybe they don't, and they really need you to pull them along. And so whatever the case may be, that's more or less why I'm here and why I do this, is to kind of be an alarm clock. I try to make it weekly, or I've been trying to do a couple times a week. It just depends on the crowd and on what people are available. But it's as much an alarm clock for me as I try to make it for you guys, that I absolutely am in the struggle. Like I mentioned before, I've been practicing this particular practice since about 2011. Was searching before that as well, and it's a struggle to awaken. It's a struggle to be awake. It's a struggle to be conscious. You fall off, and life sucks you in with good things and with bad things that make you fall off. And then when the good things go away, you find that you're lost again. And when the bad things come around, you find that if you're not practicing, you're not able to manage them better. So for me personally, I found that you have to get back on. It's like working out. It's a never-ending thing. You're not ever done working out, and you're also not ever done practicing meditation. There's always something new. There's always another challenge to overcome. There's always another mental obstacle to overcome, or social work obstacle, whatever the case may be. You're going to have highs and lows. And the more that you can integrate a regular meditation practice into your life, the easier those highs and lows will be to manage. It's like you are consistently pounding in your stake in the ground every day, every day, every day. And that is your holding rod, that it keeps you grounded, it keeps you solid, and it is there for you in good and bad times. So to get into a little bit of what meditation is for those who don't necessarily know or have an inkling or whatever, it's not so much about you sitting there and having no thoughts at all. And that's where a lot of people find that they can't get started into a meditation practice, because They believe that they should just be able to sit there in absolute silence. And then they find out that they can't do it. They give it a minute or maybe 5 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes, who knows how long, but most of the time they find that sitting in silence is incredibly difficult. And it is incredibly difficult. And if you think that the purpose of meditation is to be absolutely silent, then you're going to think that you're a failure. And really the purpose is to battle your mind, to sit and be silent, to be still, and to be in nothingness if possible. But when thoughts occur, all that is training. That's a training for you to return your focus back to what you were doing, to return your focus back to what you were doing. So if you have 1 second of non-thought, or if you have 5 seconds of non-thought, or 30 seconds or a minute, and then you stumble, you can get frustrated with yourself. And again, like I said, most people will think that as they are incapable of meditation because they're not able to sit in silence. So you practice, and you practice, and you practice. Huh? Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Hello. Hi.
What's up?
Probably.
Nice chair. Right? Yeah, so I don't know, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice, welcome.
So we're pretty much just getting started, and so what I was telling them about at the beginning is just what meditation is. It's not so much about being in complete silence as much as it is about sitting and wanting for nothing, being with yourself and building your awareness and kind of battling your mind, battling your inner thoughts that want to crop up, and they're going to crop up. They constantly crop up. It's like right here, right now, just be silent in your mind.
Monkey
It's the monkey mind, right? It's that is the first inkling into who and what is in control, right? And that is that you assume that you have control over your thoughts. You assume that you have control over your body or your desires or your will. And if you did, then you should be able to sit in silence, right? So if you can't sit in silence, who's in control? Is it you, or is it some part of you? What is it? And that's the first starting point to learning who and what you really are. Because you begin the separation process of, okay, well, I didn't conjure that thought. I'm not all of a sudden thinking about some fight I had last week because I want to. I'm not thinking about the dishes I have to do tomorrow because I want to. It's just cropping up. It's just things are popping into my head. And so you start to learn that those are not your thoughts. You start to learn that that is not who you are. And the more that you can learn to navigate your thoughts, your internal thought patterns, your reactions, your emotions, the better you are to actually be able to be awake and be aware and make conscious choice in your everyday life. Again, most people think that they are conscious. Most people believe that they are awake or that they are alive. And I'm not saying you're dead, but in a way, you operate very robotic. That you, me included, I'm not saying like you specifically, so don't take it personally. It's that we as humans automate. We go to work, we drive to work. When's the last time you thought about your drive to work? Maybe today, like your drive to work, what was it like? Maybe you know that there was traffic, but you probably don't know what car was in front of you. You probably don't know a number of different things that happen on your way to work. It's just automation. You're just going. You see, hey, what's up? How's it going? Automation. You're automating. You're just going through the motions, and you're not really being conscious. You're not really being actively aware of, even right here, right now. Like, are you aware of your body? Do you feel yourself sitting in your chair? Were you thinking about it before I said that? Probably not. You're just there. When you feel your body, when you become aware of your body, when you become aware of the clothing on your skin, when you become aware of the chair that you're sitting on, the ground beneath you, and you breathe in slow, you breathe it in, and you take in the moment, you feel your environment, feel your space around you, the people that are around you. Everybody has a certain feeling to them. It's like if you look at me, I have a certain feeling to me that you don't have to say my name in your head, I just carry a vibration, and it's different than her, and it's different than him. All of these things are you stacking your awareness and building from the inward outward to have an experience of your environment that's different than your everyday life. It's when's the last time you thought about that? When's the last time you felt yourself walking through a place, or you felt how the room feels to you? It's different than just being. It's different than just being in that place. It's being in the moment. It's feeling it and experiencing it to another level. So those are some of the things that you begin to learn through this practice, is through discussions that we have here, through practicing meditation and building on a foundation of how to begin to understand your own personal energy, how to work with that energy, how to, you actually have to kind of change your internal perception of how reality is to have greater and greater effects as well. It's to say that we believe our experience is the totality of our existence, yet we know as a scientific fact that we're affected by pheromones. Yet you don't necessarily consider pheromones. You're not thinking about, if this is why I feel this way towards this girl or towards this guy, it's because of their pheromones, but it happens to you nonetheless. So it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, it just means that you are completely unaware of it. And how much of that is dictating your emotions? How much of that little thing is dictating what you are doing in your daily life? How much of that is dictating whether you get into a fight with somebody? It's the same thing. There can be pheromones for anger. There's pheromones for love or lust or jealousy or anything. And you are being affected. And then you don't have control over what you're doing. So these are little bits. And again, for a beginner's class, I'm really trying to condense a lot of information into a small amount of time to give you all kind of the maximum benefit for what a one class can do. My goal with one class is to make sure that you have enough philosophical information and real instructions on a meditation to be able to go from here and enter into a practice right away. Like if you never come again, I hope that I've given you enough that you will be able to practice every day. But just keep in mind that as I'm going through these things, a lot of these subjects I'm really just touching the surface on, and there's a lot more beneath it that we get into in great detail. It's just, there's only enough time to get into so much that, we can't cover everything in one class. So we kind of touched on what is meditation. What can it do for you? It can help you regulate your emotional stability. It can help you regulate your even your physiological responses. It also, there's studies that say it makes you younger, or it can make your brain act younger. There's a lot of science going into the meditation now of what the benefits are. But overall, it's going to help you, like I say, manage your emotions better, manage your self better, and build a connection with who and what you are on a more cosmic level or spiritual level. And I don't know if y'all have thought of that. What are you? Have you thought who and what you are? Have you ever had that thought? Or thought about, most people that come here tend to have a Christian background or Catholic background and tend to believe in a soul. And so I'm just wondering if you've ever thought about your soul. What is it?
Energy.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on, actually. Most people don't necessarily even know what to think. Y'all are different. Y'all are probably going to have answers like that. Honestly, this isn't your first go. This probably isn't your first time looking into this type of stuff. You probably had an inkling about this before you came here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? But beyond that, again, most people aren't really thinking about that. And if they do think it, they don't know how to build a connection to it. They don't know how to work with it, how to bridge that gap between your energy self and this physical body. And the physical can be your totality of existence. It's what are you? Again, you're not really your hand, but your hand provides you a lot of experience. You touch things and you get cold, you get hot, you get a sense of your environment from it. But if you chop off your hand and set it on the table, is it still you? It's like, well, no, it's not still you. And if you continue chopping body parts off and continue chopping body parts off, and essentially, if you could still exist with just a head, and then you take your eyeballs out, and your tongue out, and then you're just a brain eventually, and then you kind of start taking pieces of the brain out. It's like, how far does it go to where you are just nothingness? And we could get into semantic debate about taking apart the brain and losing the consciousness, but essentially, there's still something that is working that brain, and that's electricity or energy, your energy body, which is coexisting in this physical. So your energy is manipulating your brain to squirt the right juices and to perform the right functions to make your hands open and close, to feel this room, to feel this experience. You are a lot more closely related to the gray mass that's in your skull right now than you are this image that's in the mirror. It's this image in the mirror that's made up of all these organisms. There's arachnids in your eye right now that are, eating, sleeping, having sex, finding mates, dying. All of this happening on the microscopic level in your gut, on your arms, all over you. And so, are those you? Are those microorganisms you? In a way they are, but in another way they're not, right? It's like, they certainly live for you. They are certainly part of your ecosystem, but they're not really you. And so again, it's that type of thinking that, okay, well, what am I? What am I made of? Diving into that, reflecting on that, having those kinds of thoughts and really reflecting on it is the key to building your energy body, again, to starting to separate yourself from this physical body and building the connection to your energy body. And so again, what is energy? What is energy? There's a life force energy that is permeating all things. This is my personal opinion, belief, whatever you want to call it. So anything that I'm saying also, you do not have to subscribe to. If you do not like what I'm saying, if you do not agree with what I'm saying, by all means, throw it out. But I do ask you to, at least when we get into the meditation, to put those things into practice and test it for yourself. Just test what I have to say and prove it right or wrong. Give it an honest shot. Put your honest energy and effort into it. And I pretty much guarantee you'll have results. But again, you can find your own path. You can pick and choose things that I'm saying. It's all up to you and your own discovery and your own journey for what you want to find. And if you don't like anything, then by all means, find your own thing, man. But keep searching. I hope. Don't stop searching if this isn't right for you. But hopefully it will be, and it seems to be for a lot of people, quite honestly. So back to your energy. How to work with energy, how to build your energy. What even is energy? To me, energy is God or life force that is permeating through all of existence, essentially. All the electrons that are everywhere, that are in the air, that are making up the table, that are making you up, the molecules that are making you up, that is a type of energy. That is a type of life force. And you are able to build this bridge by reflecting on that fact that you are living in, say, a body of God. In my opinion, this is a body of God. There's no real distinction between you and the air, or you and the table, or me and you. We are all part of this fabric of reality. And when you look at things on a long enough time scale, you don't necessarily look at humanity as individuals. It's like if you were to zoom out and look at the Earth from, say, 100,000 years ago to now, and you see the civilization growing and the people growing and living, dying, and it's morphing and growing. We look more like bacteria than we do humans. And that's another type of perspective, but we also look like we are part of this earth organism that we are manipulating and transforming and a part of. So on one level, it's like you look at yourself, right? We were talking about the microorganisms in your body. And there's trillions of them, trillions and trillions and trillions of microorganisms that live inside you, right? But you view yourself as one thing. You don't see yourself as trillions of things. The same could be said for the earth. The earth is an organism. We are part of it. We are not separate from it. In fact, we are, if you believe in evolution, and I'm just assuming you do, we are birthed from this clay rock. It is us, and we are it. It is not different from us. So we are, in a type of way, we are the highest intelligent life forms on Earth. We are Earth's highest intelligence. We are Earth intelligence. It's just a different way of looking at it. Our intelligence is of the Earth. It is birthed from this Earth. And we, to take it to another place, we are like pollinators for the planet. We are it trying to see out. Telescopes, it's getting data, it's getting information from space. We're building for it to have information gathered, and then we will go out and send information out, like hands touching, grabbing this. I can't experience holding this without my hand, but the hand's not me still, but I need the hand, right? It's kind of one and the same. The Earth as an intelligence is evolving, and we are it. We are evolving for it to go out. So again, that's some more philosophical thing to reflect on that we could go into, but for now I'm just going to touch on it. So when you think of things from that perspective, though, you think about you being part of this organism, you being part of this life force, and then you breathe in. You breathe in consciously. You're building a connection with the force, with God. God is not a matter of distance. God is here right now. It's a matter of you bridging the gap and you taking the time to put in the effort to learn how to bridge that gap, to learn to build a connection and integrate it into your life. And it's a simple thing to do. We call it prana, or maybe you've heard that term before, or energy. It is all around us. It's just you have to consciously give it a life in a way. You have to be conscious that you're breathing in prana, that you are taking in this force, you are taking in this energy. God does not want to impose itself on you. It loves us in a different type of way than maybe we want to be loved, but it wants to be invited. It does not, if it thinks it will offend or hurt you or scare you or anything like that, it's just going to leave you alone. So it's almost like you have to take the step forward to say, kind of, God, I want you in my life. And it's not so much in the verbiage of what you're saying as much as it is in the emotion that you're broadcasting. It's it's somebody that you haven't seen in a while welcoming you with open arms, right? That has a feeling to it, right? Do y'all kind of get that? There's an emotion tied to that they don't have to say, I'm embracing you. It's there. And that's kind of the emotional broadcast that you're putting out, that it's an invitation, and that you're breathing it in, that you're consciously breathing it in. And when you do this, you're building a connection with your energy body. You're building your soul. You're building your life force, your connection to God. And it begins to change you. It begins to grow you. It begins to change you into something better. Maybe not necessarily better, but stronger, more evolved. Because you're learning a different type of skill. You're learning now to bridge the gap between you and, say, the non-physical. And the more that you build this connection, the more that you integrate it into your life, the more that you are drawing it into you, the stronger and stronger and stronger you become, and more begins to happen to you. Because now you're learning to, you're building this soul to be able to start to have different types of effects. You're building your energy consciousness to be able to hold itself together to exist, say, outside of this body. So, breathing in prana energy. Any thoughts on prana, or did I skip on anything so far? Let's look to you guys. Any questions so far?
Prana is energy.
Yeah, prana is energy. Prana is in Sanskrit, right? Or a term for energy. So there's an infinite amount of prana, and it is permeating all things. Or another way of looking at it is it's the Force from Star
It's
Wars.
like similar to ether.
Similar to ether?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like
From a philosophical standpoint, like ether, yeah, the idea is the same, kind of the pervasive essence of everything.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Where to go from here? So you're building your connection with your energy, and in our meditation, how we approach that is, so you can do it either sitting in a chair, which we'll arrange over there. If you're going to sit in a chair, you want to keep kind of your feet about hip width apart. You'll have your hands hand in hand in your lap, thumbs touching, and you can lean up against something, or if you prefer to do a half lotus, if you can do it, that's nice too. I can't do it, so I sit like crisscross. You don't necessarily want to lay down for a meditation. The reason being that you're probably going to fall asleep, because that's just your body's natural response. If you're laying down, closing your eyes, and trying to relax,
That wakes me up.
you're going to fall asleep. And you might fall asleep sitting up too, and that's perfectly okay if you fall asleep. So don't feel bad. It happens, especially because we end up usually doing it a little late. But the idea is that you're still and you're sitting in this position. And the reason that you sit kind of with your hands in your lap, so everybody put your hands in your lap right now. And I want you to just kind of feel how it feels there. You should feel a bit of like a warmth. And maybe it's faint at first, but just kind of feel how it feels. Now put your hands out here on your knees. Do you feel that subtle shift? It feels almost like cooler or more open. And then come back, and you should feel a bit more kind of a warmth, or it's basically like a pooling effect. And so that's the beginning stages of building an awareness with your energy, how it feels, and what you're kind of looking for at the beginning. So you start subtle and you build on subtle. So when we get into stuff like energy movements or, which we're not going to get into tonight, but other different kind of things that we work on, even in the meditation, you're starting off small. You're looking for the very subtle, and then you build on that. it's a lot like working out. You're not going to start out with 150 pounds, trying to do bench or 200 pounds or whatever. You're going to start with 50 pounds, and then you work with 75, and then you work with 100, and you may not even notice the gains, but you're getting the gains, and it's like you have to build on that little bit, and then you go further, and then you go further, and then you go further. So what we do, so again, you'll be sitting like this, and then we focus on 3 chakra points in this meditation instead of, I don't know what y'all know about chakra points, but essentially there's, say, 7 that run up and down the spine, and what they are parts of your central nervous system that are crossing, essentially. So they're major crossings in your nervous system. And we focus on 3 being the lower, which is just below your navel, the heart, which is like the middle of your chest, and your mind chakra, which is about the middle of your forehead or your pineal gland. Where, have y'all heard of the pineal gland before? It's kind of like middle of your brain. So that's kind of your focus point. So what we do is you actually will physically touch those points. And so the reason being is that when you sit and try to meditate, like we discussed at the beginning, a lot of times it's very difficult to sit and just try to be focused, even just bringing your mind to say focus on your lower chakra point. So just bringing your mind's attention there without touching it, you probably can stay there, but you're going to find it difficult after a few seconds to a minute to 5 to 10 minutes. So what you do is you're actually going to physically touch. And so what happens is, if you physically touch yourself anywhere, you have a physical sensation, and immediately your attention goes there. Especially if you pinch yourself, the attention goes right there. So you're using your actual physiology to help you manage your babbler, your mental monkey mind that wants to chatter, because you're giving it something to focus on. You're saying, no, feel that feeling that I'm pointing here, and you want to have a physical sensation, and all you've got to do is focus on that touch. Honestly, everything else up to this point is kind of like filler or fluff if you want. If all you're doing and all you get out of this class is to remember that you're going to touch that point and you're going to just feel that feeling of touch and let that be your focus, and you focus there, then you're going to do amazing. Because that's really all you need to do is sit there. Now I say that's all you need to do. Now if you do it for a few minutes, it's difficult, right? It's not as easy as it might sound, because your mind starts to wander. So what do? You don't get angry with yourself. You don't get upset that your mind wanders. You either just return your focus without getting emotionally tied to whatever happened, or you thank it. You say, thank you for that distraction. I'm returning to my touch. Thank you for that I'm returning to the touch. Again, returning the touch. So even if it's every second, even if it's every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, what happens and what tends to happen is that you're doing a wax on, wax off training with your mind. You're doing martial arts with your mind, because you're telling your mind you're going to focus on this, and your mind doesn't want to listen. And you're saying, no, I'm going to focus. No, I'm going to focus. No, I'm going to focus. I'm going to focus. I'm going to focus. And every time you do that action, it's you're learning the discipline of your brain to be able to have greater and greater, or easier and easier time focusing. So it's going to relay in all aspects of your life that you are better able to focus, because now you're able to read, and instead of reading and thinking about all these different things, you're able to shut that down a lot quicker. So you're less lost in the distraction of your daydreaming, because you've built up the mental discipline to say, no, I'm going to focus. My task right now is to be in this moment right here, right now, and to be focused. So the more that you do that action, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you're building muscle memory. You're building muscle memory so that when you want to focus, you're trained. You don't have to think about doing this anymore. You're just doing it. So there's another aspect to this that is also important to realize, and that is to recognize that you sitting there doing a meditation, trying to focus, being distracted, and catching yourself. So catching yourself is huge, guys. most people do not catch themselves. They don't even know that that is a thing. So just knowing that knowledge is huge because it automatically, especially the first time or the first few times you're doing it, and this is something that I didn't realize until way after as well, but you are better able to differentiate between who you are and who you're not because you have the realization that you are off somewhere else. So how do you have that realization if you're not actually something else, if you're not actually a third, right? So you're trying to focus, something pops into your mind, all of a sudden you're in the midst of doing the dishes, let's say, and then you catch yourself. What part of you caught yourself? There's the trick, there's the secret. Who and what you are is behind that other piece. That's a truer part of you, the part that's catching yourself. So be grateful that you caught yourself in the act. That is, again, that's huge. It's monumental to your development to realize that and to work with that and see that as a positive thing. The more that you see it as a negative thing, the more it's going to distract you, the more it's going to be inhibit your meditation. So work with it. You'll work with it. So when you touch, if your arm gets tired, don't give it any extra reason to distract you. Just set it down. Again, the idea is to stay focused here. So if you set it down, you still want to feel the feeling that something is touching there. And then if you lose that feeling, you can come back and you can switch hands. That's okay. It's no big deal. Again, the most important thing is to try to stay focused. So if somebody gets up, if something happens, if the dog barks, if whatever happens, it does not matter. Your job is to stay focused on that touch, no matter what. It's like you're holding on for your life, basically. So then we go to the heart chakra. Like I said, it's about the middle of your chest. When we do the heart chakra, you're going to bring yourself into it. And again, when I'm saying feel the touch, and you're bringing your mental awareness there. You're bringing your isness, your kind of being there to that spot. And you're being there for a moment. It's like you're experiencing from that place. So when we focus on the heart chakra, I'm going to tell you to smile. And I want you to actually physically smile, okay? Even if you're faking it. Fake it till you make it, okay? There's a reason behind it. It's because when you smile, and I'm going to also tell you to invoke the feeling of love and joy and positive energy, whatever that is for you. I kind of think of it like a Peter Pan thought, right? So Peter Pan, y'all know Peter Pan, right? From Hook. What does he do to fly? He thinks of a happy thought. Now, when he thinks of a happy thought, and I'm just kind of expanding on this for philosophical sake, let's say, when he's thinking a happy thought, do you think that he is constantly replaying the images in his head? Or, you know, just lead to this, but do you think it's that he feels that feeling and then he kind of holds that vibration in him and then he goes off to fight Hook? It's probably more the latter, right? So it's very similar to how you want to approach this and how you want to approach your happy thought or what makes you feel good. So try to find the most purest part inside of you, and a lot of times I'll use, like, say, a hug from a grandmother or something because that seems to resonate with people, but whatever it is for you that really just makes you feel kind of warm and tingly, that's just like a good, solid, happy memory that you feel in here. It's like, you know, you can feel pain in here, but you can also feel love and joy and positivity. And so when you bring that thought up, you kind of want to think it, but then you almost want to let your body react to the emotional of it, and then you hold that in here. And it's kind of like you're holding it in your chest, but it's almost like you're holding it in your isness. You're holding it in your body. I'm trying to think of how to explain it in another way, but it's almost like when you have to, like, psych yourself up to do something, and you're kind of pumping yourself up, and you're almost like building your confidence or whatever. You're going to stand up tall and you're going to, you know, approach this person or whatever it is. It's kind of like you're holding a tune inside of you, or you really want a job. Like you're going to an interview and you want this job, right? You're holding something inside of you that's like, I'm gonna be professional. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna emote this person that they want to be, right? And whatever instance that you have to relate to that, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's you're not saying I'm confident. It's I'm walking with confidence. I'm exuding all these different things. I'm trying to talk loudly. I'm trying to talk clear. Whatever it is, you're emoting this vibration. You're not just saying it. You're carrying it within you.
And I have one because I always say like this is always the hardest thing for me to make myself smile in that moment for whatever reason. It's like it reminds me of someone's telling you to smile for a picture and you're like say cheese and you're like eh. But at some point if somebody makes you laugh then you're like and you actually smile. And normally I get there for like 1 second in the whole meditation and the rest of the time I'm like trying to get it out.
Now,
so that's how it feels. But you can experience it for a minute.
And don't hurt yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
But
It's a real thing how hard it is for some reason. And it reminds you how much you have like stored up resisting that.
yeah. But the other thing about it is that there's solid science that suggests that when you smile, even if you're faking it, it releases serotonin throughout your body. So it's going to help amplify that feel-good feeling, even if you're faking it. And just try it out. I think you'll have good results with it, honestly. And then we go to the mind chakra. Again, if you're here, your arm starts getting tired, just let it down. But when you let it down, you keep your focus here. And then maybe you need to return and feel that feeling of touch for a little bit. And then you can let your hand down again. So, again, you're kind of wanting to feel almost through your skull. Your mental awareness is like in the middle of your skull. And as you're focusing on these places and you're breathing in prana. You don't have to think about it the whole time, okay? Your intention is known. You are going into a meditation and you're breathing. Go for it. Your intention is known that you're drawing in prana. So you're staying focused, you're feeling the touch, bring in every now and then maybe you want to like breathing in prana and then just stay focused on the touch. It's almost like maybe every minute or every so that you're like, again, trying to be a little more conscious and almost do like a power breath in of prana. And then it's just kind of more regular breathing and staying focused on the touch. About breathing. Breathing is key. And you don't need to worry about whether you're breathing through your nose or through your mouth, especially if you have allergies or whatever. But I do recommend that you try breathing at least in through your nose and out through your mouth, or you can do in through the nose, out through the nose. It just creates a different type of awareness in you when you start breathing through your nose. If your legs get tired, if you're sitting like say like crisscross, or if you're sitting in half lotus, just let your leg out. Don't give it any extra thought. Try to stay still as you can. Try to push through it. But if it's really bothering you, that it's just completely distracting, then it's better to just let your leg out and be comfortable and then put it back when you're ready. Try not to give it any extra attention. Try not to give it any extra distraction. So we also use music in this particular type of meditation. We use music again to help you deal with your monkey mind, your babbler brain. It gives it something to kind of chew on. It also helps you feel different types of emotions. It can help you. It helps you do a meditation. It also helps you learn to be disciplined and focused when you're distracted. Because maybe you don't necessarily like the tracks I'm playing. I don't know. We'll see. But if you feel like you don't like it, just try and roll with it. If you feel like you're just too distracted and you can't even stay focused, just try to enjoy the music and try to, if it's not for you or whatever, just roll with it, because you're going to find that you're probably going to have resistance in the very beginning, because it's something new. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to sit there and be still or be silent with yourself. But I promise you, as you push through, you're going to notice that it gets easier. You're going to notice even in this meditation tonight that maybe the time goes by fast, or maybe it goes by super slow. Who knows? But we'll see. Those are some common things that can happen. Time can be very distorted. Some other common things that may occur is you may have like some flashing, or may see colors. You may feel bigger than your body, smaller than your body. Those are some pretty common experiences to have, but you want to, I'm telling you that so you kind of know that those are some things that might happen, but as they come up, if they do happen, your job is to stay focused on the touch. It's not to get lost in whatever may be visually happening or whatever. In fact, you'll find that the more you stay focused, the deeper you go into whatever visuals may or may not be happening, or the deeper you go into whatever experience you may be experiencing. However, you want to approach every meditation with no expectation, and it's very difficult to do. It's a little easier because you guys are new, but you still have some sort of expectation because somebody has said something, or you've seen TV shows about meditation, or whatever else have you. You really want to try to go into it completely open, that whatever happens, happens, and that you are not putting any conditions on what the experience should be, because you are after something totally new. You want a new experience. You don't want the same crap that you experience every day. You're after something new. You know that something is there, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have some inkling that there is a veil that has been pulled over your eyes. You know it. You just don't know where to look, but you've been looking. You've been searching for something. I can pretty much guarantee it in all of you, because something struck you to come here. So, I'm trying to help you to work on peeling that veil back, and it takes practice, and it takes a discipline. It takes practicing every day. If you come once a week, I pretty much promise you'll get good results. The best results come from you implementing a practice daily, you implementing it on your own, and learning on your own, and then coming here, because it's your journey. It's not, I can't do it for you. I can't even give you my experiences. I can tell you about my experiences, but the verbalization, you lose so much of the data that it doesn't translate. You have to do it. You have to go there. You have to try. You have to put in the effort, and the universe will return that effort back to you if you put it in. So, no expectations. Attempt to have no expectations every time you go into it. Allow whatever happens to happen. It's so important to just you want to almost want for nothing. You have a desire because you do want something. It's like you want new knowledge, or you want experiences, but you don't really know what that entails, and so you're almost just approaching it like, I'm here for whatever you'd like to show me, and it will show you as you progress. In the beginning, it's probably going to start working through your emotional issues. It's going to start ironing your life out, and then beyond that, you'll start progressing to more spiritual or psychic things. So, any thoughts? Any questions? I know it's a lot of information, you guys.
The other thought I had was, if you, just because it's happened to me, like if you're going to a place where you think you're going to fall asleep, just remembering that space, like right before you fall asleep, is actually a meditative space. So just remember that, fall asleep, wake up, and then even if it happens again, like just recognizing that is a step in the right direction.
And I'm really glad you said that, because it brings me kind of to another point, which is you've probably experienced different meditative states in your waking life or daily life. If you do any hobbies or any particular work that zones you out, it's like the time seems to just slip by when you're really zoned in on something, right? And so that is a meditative state of mind. And what does that mindset feel like? It feels almost like you're like coasting, right? It's almost like you're there, you're in the moment, you're doing your hobby, or you're doing your art, or whatever. And you're not really thinking that much. It's like you're just in the moment. Or those of you that have done like psychedelics or whatever, there's a place in you that you get lost in kind of the staring, like you're in this spot, and you can allow yourself to kind of merge into it, and you're like, but the more that you think of it, the more that you try to encapsulate it, the more it slips, and you lose the experience. So it's like you're almost riding this wave of non-thought, or you're coasting in that moment. Those moments of non-thought feel like coasting. It feels like you're on ice, or you're just gliding. And then something distracts you, and then you come back to it. So it's almost like a constant. So you build on that. And you can use your past experiences to be a reference point as to kind of what you're looking for, that type of mind frame that you're looking for. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts? Did I leave something out? Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of data to go over, you guys. There's so much I want to expand on, but there's honestly only so much you can take in a sitting as well. And I can ramble on for a couple hours, and I tend to. I try not to, especially on a first go. Yeah, I mean, like I say, if you find that you like this kind of stuff, if you find that you gain something out of it after we go through meditation, God, there's just so much that we can get into. And yeah, so you want to take care of your creature comforts before you hop into a meditation. So you want to go to the bathroom, you want to make sure you're not thirsty, you want to try to avoid any caffeines before, you want to try to make sure that your doors are locked, make sure your phone's off, make sure that if you live with people, they're not going to bother you. You want to try to eliminate as many distractions that could potentially come your way up front. Because if you have a roommate or something and you're going to try and meditate and they don't know what you're doing, in the back of your head, you're going to be constantly worried that they're going to come knock on the door. And so you want to eliminate any types of distractions. You want to try to do it not so close to your bedtime because you might fall asleep, but it's latish whenever we do it here, but again, that's how the timing works. You'll be fine. You want to, so let's go ahead and take a little break before we hop into meditation. I'm going to review my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. If anyone needs to use the bathroom, there's a door right to the right over here. If anyone would like a drink, some water or something. So let's turn our phones off. It's good to stretch before as well, or take a walk. We're not going to take a walk tonight, but like on your own, taking like a 10-minute walk is great for clearing out your mental babbler. It's a great meditation in and of itself. Yeah.
I got this thought, and this is just like mind searching and shit. We're inside out and outside in at the same time. Meditation kind of helps you find the center of it.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a lot of stuff that you talked about. I was talking to my daughter about it the other day.
Oh, really?
How we're more connected to nature than anything. All this shit is just like something made in our hands and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I told her, I was like, close your eyes. I was like, imagine the sun. I was like, then imagine stars and outer space and being out there. I was telling her, I was like, the mind is the universe, and the universe is your mind. We're all of that.
Absolutely.
I was gonna
We
say,
really
it
are.
reminded me of this basic concept, which is you can meditate on for the rest of your life. But imagine as vast as the universe is outside of us, it's just as vast
Yeah.
inside.
Mhm.
Just that, like, wait a
Exactly.
second, like, whoa.
Yeah,
Both of them have no sense to
you
that.
had all that up there. It's like,
There's so much.
Just as
Yeah.
far out as we can look is how deep you can look.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't even have a telescope that can see as far as we can see.
Right, and we have so much inside of ourselves that is connecting with one part to the other, and we don't even realize it because it's
Yeah.
so automatic and
Like
it's so,
football?
Mm-hmm.
football.
Oh, yeah. It's
crazy.
Sounds
It's
great.
crazy and everything is crazy. It is. It's really crazy. I love watching documentaries from space because it keeps me like really grounded into thinking like, how much more there's out there and how, how we feel human
Oh,
and everything.
Gotcha.
Well, I don't know where my notes are. So. I'm gonna just assume that I went over everything.
We won't know the difference.
No, I know, but that's okay. Just